Flying Brian here in Wilmington, North Carolina at the USS North Carolina Battleship Museum here on the Cape Fear River, and we're going to go and explore this fantastic World War II era battleship. Come along, shall you? Inside the visitor center, one finds the various ships that have been christened with the name North Carolina, which starts with this 2,600-ton timber vessel that dates from 1824, definitely from the age of sail. She served the new nation until 1866, 1 year after the Civil War, when she was decommissioned. During the American Civil War, a second vessel was given the name of North Carolina, not a U.S. Navy warship, but a Confederate ironclad. Commissioned in 1863, she was so poorly engineered and built, she sank in the Cape Fear River just over a year later. The next to carry the name North Carolina was this 15,000-ton cruiser that was commissioned in 1908. She carried the name North Carolina until 1920, when she was renamed USS Charlotte, stripped of her original name because the Navy wanted the name for a new South Dakota-class battleship they were building. But as luck would have it, the new vessel was canceled, and the name North Carolina went unused. Then, in 1936, war was once again raging in Europe. The U.S. Navy began to plan for the inevitable and began building battleships. In 1941, the nation's newest battle wagon was christened the USS North Carolina, which is the ship we are visiting today, a 45,000-ton North Carolina-class battleship. She served the nation for just 6 years before decommissioning in 1947. The most recent naval vessel to carry the name is the attack submarine North Carolina, SSN 777, a Virginia-class submarine that was commissioned in 2008 and is currently serving in the Pacific Fleet. Stepping out of the visitor center, the brow takes us up to the main deck, where you are greeted by the vessel's number 3 turret. The USS North Carolina has been designated a National Historic Landmark. Here's a nice shot looking forward. The number 3 16-inch gun turret and one of the ship's Mark 37 gun directors up above on the superstructure. Here's one of what would have been 2 Kingfisher float planes sitting on a catapult here on the stern. These were typically used for scouting, search and rescue, and artillery spotting duties. This is the bow from the North Carolina's predecessor, the cruiser North Carolina, commissioned in 1908. And up there is one of the Battleship North Carolina's bells. This is turret 3 here on the stern, and it's open to the public. Under the back overhang of the turret is an access hatch you can climb up into. I am now inside the aft area of the turret. The large cylindrical object that extends across the space from side to side is the turret's rangefinder. I'm at the turret's gun trainer station, the man responsible for rotating the gun left and right. The optics still seem to work, but good luck trying to see anything through the camera lens. Here's a look down into one of the gun pits, where you can see the open breech and 5 of the 6 powder bags ready to be rammed up into the gun. Here's another gun pit. In this one, you can see the hydraulic rammer behind the powder bag there in the tray, easing it up into the breech. Once loaded, the tray is retracted and the breech closed, and the gun is ready to fire. Here's a look across the turret directly behind the 3 gun pits, the guns being on the right. And now looking across from the other side. We're now down on second deck in the after crew mess, which is where the sailors ate their meals. Food was prepared in the co-located galley, where cooks and bakers prepared 3 meals a day for some 2,300 crew members. Here's a potato peeler that spins potatoes around against what looks to be sandpaper inside. This is the bakery with a large dough mixer, proofing ovens, and plenty of baking pans and tins. The ship also had its own butcher shop, where entire sides of beef were pulled from cold storage, hung from the overhead, and broken down into more basic cuts of meat. And when everything was ready, it was all served up from serving lines like this one. The area also had the equivalent of a corner store here, and an ice cream and soda fountain here. The space also served as a movie theater with a projection booth back here, and a screen that could be pulled down from the ceiling there at the other end of the room. I've moved into crew berthing with racks stacked 4 high, presently in a stowed position. Into the crew's head and washroom, with large communal sinks on the left and right. Urinals and toilets along the back. I'm about to walk back outside onto the main deck, and I notice this space filled with 60-round Oerlikon 20mm magazines. Gun crews would spend time topping off these magazines as part of their duties, making sure the ready lockers were fully stocked with ammunition. Speaking of which, here are 5 of the Oerlikon 20mm guns pointing skyward along the starboard deck forward, and 5 more over on the port side. Up on the ship's prow, I turn around and look aft, where I can see that one of the North Carolina's 25,000-pound anchors has been removed and is now stowed on the deck. Why it was removed and placed here, I do not know. Perhaps it was simply for ease of maintenance. But the port anchor and anchor chain are still very much in place. The anchor chain emerges from the chain locker over on the left, wraps around the capstan out of frame to the left, and runs up the deck and attaches to the anchor, which is stored in the port hawse pipe. Here's a control for the capstan that raises and lowers the anchor chain. This wheel is the capstan brake, which holds the chain in place. And that will wrap up this part of our explore of the USS North Carolina. Watch for part 2. Until then, remember, life is a journey. Enjoy the ride, and thanks for watching.